Welcome to the garden. Today I'm sharing the results of a seed spacing experiment to see how much lettuce we can harvest. I wanted to find out whether it's better to leave your lettuce far apart so they get really large, or to plant them really close together so that you can just get a lot of plants. I brought out a few different packets of lettuce so we can look at the spacing. This one recommends you space the seeds about an inch apart and then thin them. This one just recommends 8 inches right off the bat. And this larger variety recommends a spacing of 12 inches. So that's probably 1 plant per square foot. And in my little container garden, I could probably get away with maybe 3 per pot. Here I have one little lone plant here at the back, and it's a beautiful size, but it's obviously not big enough to fill in this entire container. A fully grown plant can get up to 1 square foot, but that doesn't mean you need to space them a foot apart. Then you would have a lot of empty space in the middle. I've never needed to space them out a foot apart. That's really more for field planting, like if you have an actual farm. But for container gardening, I definitely prefer a denser planted pot. Here's another really densely packed one. And these plants are about 2 or 3 inches apart. But look at the quality of this lettuce. It's just beautiful. Nice big leaves. They aren't quite so enormous as they would be if we spaced them further, but we have more of them. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, and I've found both to be very effective. So here on the left, we have a container that's been very densely planted, and on the right is one that's been thinned out a little bit more. And these two containers are very comparable. This one has larger plants with bigger leaves, so if you do prefer larger leaves, you can certainly space them out a little bit more. But look at how densely this one is planted. It is just packed with lettuce. We could come in here and harvest just every single leaf and probably have twice as much lettuce. I want to wait till tomorrow morning to harvest these so they're nice and crisp. Then we'll give them a really good rinse and seal them in a container in the fridge. That way they'll stay fresh for at least a couple weeks, and maybe they'll start to regrow new leaves out here in the garden. So we've harvested this entire bin full of different varieties of lettuce. It looks incredible. We're just going to seal these up in the fridge and they'll stay fresh for a couple weeks. And we have so much more lettuce. We could probably do this 10 more times. But that means we'll be able to harvest again and let some of our plants go to flower. It's been a surprisingly cold spring and only one of our new varieties are flowering. That's these yellow ones here. The square foot of spacing applies not only to the leaves, but also to the roots. It would be nice just to plant them right close to the edge so we could get more in, but the edges dry out really quickly, and it confines the roots a little bit. So I thin out my plants around the edge to about maybe 2 inches in, and then we'll space out the center of the plants up to a foot apart. These ones are about 4 inches apart, and they look just fine. I've harvested several leaves and we could harvest several more. So when it comes down to it, you can use the recommended spacing on the seed packet. But for container gardening, I usually cut that spacing in half. That way we can get twice as many plants and still get a massive harvest. So I hope you give this a go in your garden. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.